I wanted to talk to you about this big America's Next Top Model documentary that Netflix is doing. I want to know, when you saw the trailer, what were your initial thoughts?
I think just like how the general public probably must have, I was also, I mean, I didn't hear about it, so I was equally surprised as everybody else. Um, and yeah, I'm curious to hear everything that's going to be on the documentary. So I will be just as clueless as everyone else watching
So
it.
you weren't asked to do
I
the
was not asked,
documentary.
no.
Okay. Were you surprised to see some of the contestants who are involved in the documentary?
I mean, I just saw, I think, Whitney and Kia. I didn't really see a lot of other models from the other seasons, but I think it's just maybe they were looking for models that fit with whatever the story that is being told in the documentary is, and I understand that. I think it just somehow works with whatever that they're trying to discuss.
Yeah,
So I
definitely.
don't take it personal at all.
Yeah, I'm wondering, obviously a big thing that a lot of people have talked about is the way that the original show was edited.
Yeah.
Um, and so I'm curious about your thoughts on if you think that the documentary will be telling the whole truth.
Yeah, I mean, I did see that the producer is also on the show, Ken Mock, and a lot of the judges are also on the show. And I found that interesting because I think Jay Manuel also wrote a book about Tyra, so I thought they had a rift, so that would be interesting how they were. I think it's really cool that they were able to get everyone, especially on the judging aspect of the show in the documentary. But as far as because when I did my cycle, they had 24-hour footage of us. You know, we were being filmed, even if we went to the bathroom, basically like if another girl was also using the bathroom, the camera crew could come in with us. So they have endless basically everything that they need that they can film that they have. So I don't know if I feel like it will be told exactly like the way they would want it to be told.
The documentary seems to allude to them talking about problematic things that happen, like cultural appropriation,
Right.
fat shaming, really, things that no one would ever talk about now or do now in reality TV.
hmm
Did you yourself experience any of that?
To be honest, I had a pretty like I was so new. I didn't know anything that was about fashion. I was basically just a newbie. So for me, I had a pretty good experience. I really enjoyed being on the show. I only had like more of a professional relationship with Tyra just on camera, basically. But she was always rooting for me, and I think slightly frustrated with me because I think she did see a lot of potential, but I was not like just quite getting it just yet. And I for me, as far as like in terms of race or body shaming or anything like that, it was I didn't have any issues. So yeah, but of course, I hear a lot of models have experienced that. And I think the show actually did try to bring a lot of body positivity. And as you know, on my cycle is when they had the first plus size model win. And I think the public was like, every cycle you put a plus size model and they never win, you know? So I think in a way it was like that was a response for like being like, and I think Tyra was always rooting for body positivity, and but at the same time, you know, you cannot really apply that those times to today's times. You know, things have really changed. But yeah, I really think considering the times that we were living back then, I think the show did what it could, you know, to basically bring positivity in terms of body image.
So do you think that it's fair that people are resurfacing these old clips and, criticizing the way that things were done like 20 years
Yeah.
ago or however long it was?
I mean, that's a really good question. I think like I said, you cannot really, it's a completely, the world is so different, you know? And, you know, if we were to look back and ask, you know, was that right? Or did that person, you know, were they politically correct or body image correct? To 2026, it just doesn't apply, you know, the world is completely different. So I think context is always, you know, yeah. It's a really
Yeah.
hard question.
Yeah. I think also many contestants have come
Mhm.
forward just about their bad experiences. What are
Yeah.
you hoping for those people to get out of this documentary?
I really hope that they can get the apology because you know, you cannot say that if someone was offended, they have every right to be offended or to feel hurt. So I do believe that their pain is real. And I really hope that they can get the closure that they need and that they waited for almost 20 years from this documentary. I hope that it will be healing. And I really think for all the producers and everybody, even though they had different perspectives, for all of them to come together to create this documentary, I really think they want people to be like, look, we were also doing a job and we were trying to feed the monster, the public that was like, give us more and more. And so, you know, I hope that, and I think they are doing the documentary with that intention to really be like, you know, to show their side. And I think from the trailer, I saw Tyra is like, you know, I haven't spoken, but you know, now I'm gonna talk. And I really think that she means that, and that was her job. I think it was to push the limits, and she's created. I don't think she gets credit for the amount of names that she's created in the industry and the opportunities that she's giving models, including me. Like people used to say, I don't know if it's the case anymore, that I was the most successful model to break into the fashion industry from that show. And yeah, it changed my life, you know, and I'm grateful for that. And no one basically forced me and dragged me to audition for the show. Like I went, and you could leave whenever you want to leave, you know? So it's like, yeah, like I understand that a lot of models are resentful and hurt, but at the same time, it's like that's just the industry. That's just the name of the game, unfortunately.
Would you say that exposing some of these tough realities of the industry has helped change how the industry works now, or some of the problems still exist?
I think that in terms of, I can only speak for modeling, but like I definitely believe that modeling has changed for the better. I feel like people are much more designers, everybody like on set, like I still work, and people are just it's almost like the pendulum has swung so much to the other side. It's like people are so careful now, and like they treat you like so well, and everything is just so different, and it's great. So it is good that people are like, I'm hurt and I don't like this and I don't like when you do this. And that's it's a communication, you know. And I think people a lot of good things have come out of a lot of models saying, you know, this is wrong. We shouldn't be treated like if I'm a black model and you do my hair wrong, like it's not, you know, then I don't feel good. You know, all those things I think created like great life experiences and working conditions for the younger models and the younger generation that's come after us. I don't think they realized how hard we had it, you know, starting in the industry. It was really, really hard, you know. But again, no one was forcing us. Like I happily joined in the tough industry because I love what it offered, which is modeling and you know traveling and getting to meet interesting people around the world, like you know. So it's like life is not perfect. You cannot go through life unscathed, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think also a lot of people bring up, or a lot of the models that competed brought up that, you know, they were always hungry, they lost a lot of weight on set,
Yeah.
or they were being weighed every day, things like that. Did you
Hmm.
feel like there was a lot of pressure around that kind of thing?
I mean, luckily I I think I'm like naturally thin, so I have really never had issues with weight. um but I think that there were tactics on the producers end to keep us, a little bit hungry, like to feed us later in lunch or whatever, because then it creates tension. And then it's like, you know, maybe nobody wants to sit around and watch pretty girls on TV getting along and just being like, yeah, there's people need some action and a little bit of drama. And I think the show did whatever it could to like instigate or coach us into being a little bit of out of our character. But in terms of starving us, no, we were never starved, and we were never, pushed into anything that we felt completely uncomfortable, because I know myself and I have, dignity, and there's a line. And if I felt like that was crossed, I would have walked out. So
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, there was actually, I think you mentioned it before, a part in the trailer when Tyra said, we were being pushed to do more and more. So every cycle it became more and more intense and kind of crazier as the
Yeah.
show went on.
Mm-hmm.
So, but do you think that that's her not really taking accountability and putting it on like the production side or like the public side? Like who, there were clearly problems,
Yeah.
like shouldn't Tyra be taking accountability for that?
Yeah, I think the noise has gotten so loud that she had to come out with a documentary and say her side, because so many people have come out and complained, and she said some insane like out of this world things to some models on the show. And yeah, of course she's gonna come out and defend herself, like that's just she's a businesswoman who ran one of the most successful shows in the world, and she gave the world what they needed. And now everybody's coming out and is pissed off, and she's like, I think she's there to clear her name. And the documentary is just about that, and I don't think it's a secret. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that there's anything that she could do to right her wrongs?
Wow. I think that's a question for Tyra, to be honest. I think that what's done's been done, I think Tyra can probably sleep better knowing that she's created great careers for a lot of models and gave people a lot of exposure, and have given a lot of women the platform to do something with that show if they wanted it. And um, I don't think she went to all these girls' homes and dragged them into the show. I think that she is, yeah, I think she's a businesswoman, and uh, you cannot be on such a nationalized television and be the host and running the show and not have any criticism. People will always have something to say, and I think she knows that. I think she's fine.
I wanted to ask you, so obviously, like you did a lot of modeling work after the show. Did you ever cross paths again with Tyra after?
I have. I have actually. I used to, in the beginning of my career, I used to live in the Lower East Side, and I was walking around with my friends, and Tyra was actually, I think, in a yellow cab, and she saw me, and she got out of the car. She had a hat on, and she's like, and it was like, it was such a really nice experience, because it's like we only had more of a professional relationship on the show. So it was like, first of all, crazy to see her outside without like full makeup and heels and glammed up, and she was just wearing a hat. And it was really interesting juxtaposition, like between like how I knew her versus like how she is in the outside world of the show. So that was really pleasant. And then I think I did see her another time, like at an event. I can't remember which event. But whenever I did like a big job, like when I did my Ralph Lauren campaign or did the Hermes show or all this Coca-Cola, like whenever I did anything big, Tyra was the first one to cheer me. I think one time she went undercover in Sephora. I had a huge Sephora ad outside the Sephora store, and she had a hat on, and she took a picture next to it, and she posted it on her Instagram and showed me a lot of love. So that was like for me, like I think she was like finally she's getting it, because in the show I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to walk in heels. So I think she was very proud that I was able to take the opportunity that the show has offered me and to have it catapult into a full career.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that you said that it was so different seeing her just on the street versus in the, you know, judge panel.
Yeah.
What, like, did the judges feel scary? Were they like angels sent from above? Like, what was the dynamic in the room on the show with the judges?
Um, the judges were like kind of the buffer between like us and Tyra. Like, Tyra was the queen. It's like the queen, and then it was like the queen's minions. Where I don't want to call them the minion, but the judges were like her little minions. It felt like on the show. And they were super nice, like especially to me, like Jay Manuel was like the nicest to me. Paulina Prokosova was also, I think she was the judge on my cycle. Um, she was always a little also like frustrated with me because she'll just tell me like, you need to stand straight and, like have more confidence and, like, and so it was like tough love. Like it was like a older sister showing you the ropes and being like, come on, like, you got to stand up straight and you got to command attention and you got to. So and for me, I'm someone who's like always open to like constructive criticism because I'm like, please teach me. Like this is a new industry for me. I don't know what I'm doing. Tell me what to do. So I appreciated that. I didn't take an offense to it. Um, but if you are not like that and you're more sensitive, and I think and maybe come from a little bit of a sheltered life than I've come from, those those words can cut, deep and can create a lot of pain and harbor a lot of resentment. And I hope the documentary can really release a lot of that anger from a lot of people.
Yeah. Do you think you're
Yeah,
gonna watch it?
absolutely. I can't wait. It is weird. It's weird. I actually, about a year ago, rewatched my cycle with my husband. I haven't seen it since I don't even know. Like I think when it was coming out, I watched it in college a little bit because I went back to college, but I haven't seen it almost 20 years. So that was surreal. So in a way, I'm kind of like happy that the documentary is coming out because it's like I'm like, oh, I recently watched my cycle. So yeah.
Was there anything when you rewatched it that was like totally shocking to you or surprising, like something that you said or did that you're like, I can't believe that happened?
Um, yeah, I guess just that I was shocked at how young and opinionated I was. I had a vile mouth, I was just like really like the words just came out without thinking, and I guess you can attribute that to young age, but yeah, like there were several instances. Like, I mean, there's like this this like clip that kind of went a little viral once, and it was like, "Can I call you a bitch?" Where it was actually like, I mean, you had to be there, but it was like a group of us, and we were all like young Black women, and some of them were acting a little like, I feel like vulgar, for lack of a better word. And I was just so, I think, aware of like the power of the television and how like there's already so many negativities about like Black people in the community. And I was just like, I didn't want Black women to have this like really bad like stereotype. So I was
Right.
like, girl, stop acting ghetto. And then just the everything kind of got out of like hands, and one of the young ladies unfortunately got really mad at me and was like, I'm a bitch. And I'm like, oh, so can I call you a bitch? And then that snippet has been shared a lot online, and then somehow it's been taken out of context in the Black community, where people are like, oh, she thinks she's better than us and calling us ghetto. And I'm like, whoa, no. Like I was just like saying, like, let us not, you know, make a bad impression on television, because that's what you see often, unfortunately. Maybe, I don't know.
Right. You were thinking about your perception for the
Yeah.
viewers.
Yeah.
Um, there was also a moment where some models were playing with Barbies. Do you remember
Hmm.
this?
I do.
And you reacted saying you're being ignorant.
Yeah.
Um, I think that was a great moment for you to speak out, you know, and again, think about how the viewers are watching and see it. Do you want to tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, thank you for saying that. I think I do remember that because I think it was Allison who she had, I think, body image issues, unfortunately. And now that I'm older, like I do have more sympathy for her because, I understand, like I didn't know a lot about like like depression and like, mental illness and like I don't know what was going on, but now when I rewatched the show, I was like, that's not a normal thing for a young girl to be. I think she had severe body image issues, and it was a with the two dolls, and she was saying I'm a black doll. I don't know. It was something really weird. I can't even remember exactly what she said, but it was really racist. And I mean, it was just so weird that I, I'm not like a victim. Like for me, unless you really call me the N-word or like really are just like blatantly racist, I'm not someone to just quickly use the race card, like, because it's just like that is reserved for like serious business. And even there, I felt like it's just another chick who's just being weird, like I didn't really internalize her racism until, of course, the public watched it and then people were outraged. And I was like, oh, yeah, that was really bad, you know? So,
Yeah, so it's interesting. The cameras are always watching, and they were able to catch all of those moments that
yeah,
weren't like that wasn't created by the production crew. You know, that was just happening behind the
yes.
scenes.